Hi, Roberto. You all right?
Hello, Vez. How are you doing?
I'm fine, not bad. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll leave it for a couple of minutes to people are all joining actually. So
Sessions to be free to participant line and the confirmed capacity and willingness to proceed.
Alan,
Yeah, hi.
we'll start. It's 2 minutes past two. So let's start now. Good afternoon again to everyone. Today we are going to do now in our agenda. We got three topics to cover. One is regular Edge 3 updates. So we got still some issues there. So we just want, I think Roberto is here now, so he can clarify the doubts and is there any new developments going on. He will give all the updates 10-15 minutes. If anyone got any doubts, you can ask Roberto, or any issues not working, you can ask Roberto. And you can ask about, in case if you raised a ticket for a query, and then you can ask the status, is there any, what's happening about it also. That's the first one. Second, we are going to do amendments on Edge, how we're using Edge for amendments. So that's done by Anna Komark. It's one of my colleague who works in renal department as a senior study support officer, and she is presenting it actually. And the third one is is anyone it's because one of my colleague, she's presenting. So if anyone else got any different way of working, or something a similar way of working, so we can learn from each other. So that's the one we are going to discuss it in the last. So Roberto, it's for you now. And first thing, I will rate now because I'm talking. I'll just say my issue. I think you are not there. When I raised this ticket. I was looking to do a report on the milestone gaps between, like, for example, in
Yes.
between
Okay.
feasibility to open,
The
and
timeline.
and those things. So that's we got to attribute something called project site status date, but that is only shows the latest one, so it
Yes.
is not bringing all of them. So I think I raised it. So if anyone else, I think also what's his name, Pradeep Janjua, he is also knows about this issue
Y-
actually. I
uh,
discussed with him, so that's what it is. So anyone else got anything you can discuss about it?
with that one, Vez, this was
Yes, yeah.
something that it's not a report that we can pull from Edge at the moment. It's quite difficult to pull that report. We did look into having that as a report in Edge, especially during the pandemic time, because people were asking to have that because it was suspending sites and then reopening, and they needed to kind of track that. It's not an easy report to track to add as a default report on Edge. We have looked into it. We'll look into a little bit more, try to see if we can find, because the problem is not extracting the data, it's putting into a display that will be visually appealing, or that visually you can actually see, because that will be lots of statuses, and then each project site may have different statuses. So some will have 3 statuses, some will have 10 statuses, and some may have multiple suspend and reopen, suspend, reopen, or go through all of those different state phases. So it's quite difficult to create a report to display that data in a way that will be meaningful. So it is something that is on our to-do list, but it's we have looked into it. It's quite difficult. So far, we haven't found a solution to create that timeline report from the project site. So that's why you on the project forms you have the most recent statuses of the site, because that's what appears on the core details.
Yeah, that date is already existing in, for example, if it is a open study, maybe it is, project site confirmed date is the open date, which is already there. So it's which is not really giving a meaningful picture for us. So what I was thinking is there any way you can provide one-off report? Maybe, and I'm not, because I know the reason why you, you didn't put it in the, because I can understand the complex of it, but is there any way you can get, because to do a detailed analysis of why each stages took quite long, and we need to find out those kind of things. The best way to find out is, like, at least if you can provide a one-off report on your end, querying your database locally rather than giving externally. I know that it will pull down, if everyone running that report, like at least 5-6 trust is running, it may pull down the report server resource actually. So there is a possibility. So I know that's the reason you didn't allow us, but is there anything you can do, like a one-off report actually? So, like, for example, Edge ID, status. What's the status date? That's simple. It is. I don't want anything more than that actually.
So we thought what will on the reports you need to have project ID.
Yes.
Project site name, and then all the statuses, which would be the status and the date every time that happen.
Yes, yeah.
And then that will be across all of your portfolio. So you may have multiple sites on the same project.
Right, yes.
As well. So that's why it gets so complex. I don't know if we can provide that kind of report, bespoke report. Maybe if you send an email to our support, I can then move forward and talk with the rest of the team and see if that's something that we can do. But at the moment, I cannot say yes or no. Sorry.
This is there was one status we were thinking to be doing called recruitment hold due to COVID. There was one status there. So that was because that was a question triggered to us actually. So we want to find out how long this study is sitting as a recruitment on hold due to COVID actually. So that only we can action that one. So if it, like, for example, we done that one for month ago, I said, okay, leave it for it. And if it's there for nearly more than 2 years, then can we reopen it or not, or what to do on those things? So recruitment on hold due to COVID, that status. We want to know how long the study is on sitting on the status. That's the reason. And then when this question was raised, I thought of creating more now, like, okay, why can't we find out for in between and then find out now why it took different stages bit longer actually. So sometimes almost some of the studies we got like for nearly 2 years as a feasibility. So we want to know those kind of things, how things are happening actually. So that's my question. Yeah, but anyone else got any questions?
I think
please?
If you want to I can give a little bit of a update about what you have been doing in the last
please. Thank
month.
You. Yes, yeah.
So in September we launched Edge Canada, so which is the second biggest database. So kind of last month, the developers were working on creating all the infrastructure or making sure that everything was able to go live. So we have now launched Edge Canada, which is kind of the second biggest database. We launch in most of the countries now. They have Edge 3. So until the end of the year, we want to have Edge 3 everywhere in every country that uses Edge. So that's part of the work we've been doing. The other part is we are working on the API layer project to provide a layer where your trust can go in and extract some data from Edge into different systems. So we are working on the infrastructure of that at the moment, trying to see the best solutions and what we need to do in terms of security and all of that. That's also has to be very carefully thought, and because it might kind of have high risks of if data goes where it shouldn't go. So we need to make sure that everything is correct. And we are also working on the forum for Edge 3. So this is what we've been working on. We have worked on a few issues that people have been kind of reporting. So we have also been doing that. And I think there was someone that had the hand up. I think it was Jenny. Yeah.
Hello, I was a bit trigger happy there, on and off. Hopefully I'm raising this in the right area.
Yeah.
We're still having issues with notifications
Yes.
with Edge. So as I say, we've triple checked, quadruple checked, everything's ticked, all the bells, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
nobody's still receiving any kind of notifications. We have them set for admin and users.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything for training, for anything at all. So we have got a way to do this ourselves with various spreadsheets and reports.
With the report, yeah. Okay,
But
yeah. This is
has there
one
been
of
any
the things we
progress?
are working on at the moment as well. So with the training, this is a bit more complex issue. So we are working on this training reminders, trying to understand what is happening here. But this has kind of multiple factors. With the training, the users can, under their My Profile notification, they can take and untick receiving that, and they can receive that through email or through the system notification. So that kind of just creates a slightly more of a complex environment, but we are working on that. I cannot provide a timeline for when it's going to be done, but it is something we are on the case, let's say.
Smashing. Brilliant. Oh, thank you for that. That's great. Thanks, Roberto.
There is Ellis, I think, next.
Hi, yeah. An issue all my colleagues are pointing out is when you're on a patient page, a patient list on the study, if you select a filter, it lets you, but then as soon as you go on a patient page, then go back, that filter is no longer active. Is there a way to sort that? Yeah.
Okay, so you can look at that. I think that has to do with saved cookies on the system. So we can potentially look and say maintain the cookies, but the question is, will you normally want to keep that filter in, or will you then just go and do a different search in there, and then you prefer to have like a back to the original view?
Maybe back to the original once you've exited the project entirely, but once you've done it, and because sometimes you just need to search through patients for all, go down the list of the date. So you select the filter for the date, it does that, and then every time you go back, you have to keep, and then you lose tracking lines, just stuff like that.
Okay, I'll make a note and talk with the team to see if we can do something about that.
Doreen?
Yeah. I'm going back on Janie's point that she raised beforehand about the training. Roberto, you mentioned about the notification that people would have to go in and manually tick so they could get.
they can go there and change the notification. So individual users have the power to decide which notifications they receive, and the training is one of those
Yes, but then
notifications.
my issue is when you go in as a new user, all that is unticked.
Yeah, that's
So is
the
it possible
default.
to make the default training ticked, so we know we're kind of reassured that people as new users have that ticked on their profile,
Yes,
instead of
I
having
think
to
that's
ask
the
everybody?
default, if I'm not mistaken, but I will just double check. But I think that's the
Okay.
default. That's the default. At least all the internal notifications are ticked, and then the users can go there and
No, it's
change
the other
that
way
if they
around.
need.
It's the other way around. It's
Is
all
it?
unticked, and you have to go in and actually tick to receive.
Oh, is it? Okay, I
Yes.
will.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that then. I'll put a note to see if we can change that.
Record.
Yeah, it's about the workflows. If a workflow task is assigned to you,
Yeah.
two things really around the workflows. So if a task is assigned to you and it's on your dashboard, you can click straight to the project, but you can't go straight to the task that's assigned to you. So you have to remember exactly which workflow name, what task and what level. So for us, if we've got quite a few workflows, it could take someone quite a lot of time to find out which exact one and remember which one to tick to go through to, rather than just being able to go direct to the actual task. And also, if a task is attributed to you, have an email to say that the task, because my point, we're using it to delegate tasks to save me emailing a member of staff, but it's not currently helping with that at all.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
So that's two different things. So the last point about receiving an email, we are working on creating a notification that you can activate and put that as an email.
Yeah.
So that's one of the points. The other is we need to look into the widget and pointing the widget, or where you go to the link of the widget to the direct task. The problem with that is that widget also shows when you're part of a team and that team is assigned to the step.
Yeah.
So that can create a few issues, but we'll look around and see if we can
kind of opens up another problem of when will we be able to create our own teams, because at the moment I think there's only set teams. Well, departments.
No, no, teams you can create. The departments are the ones that are a list that is called
it's the departments
centrally.
That I'd like to change.
Centrally, yes, the tag of department. With that list as well. That list is for now has 6 or 7, six or seven departments. If there's any department that it's not there, you can email us with that suggestion, and the Edge team can add more into it. At the moment, we put those because it were the basic ones. But that list, if needed,
would that change everybody's departments, or would it just change ours?
It will change everyone in Edge.
Yeah.
So we will kind of make sure that all the departments are kind of more or less generically used across.
That is the problem. We're all different, so we have all different departments across different trusts. But okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Liz?
Yeah, just on the topic of widgets, for the appointments widget, it says view details, but that button doesn't actually do anything. So when you click it, it does. I expected it to lead you to maybe the patient page or that appointment page, because like you get the patient, you don't get the patient name, or you don't get the study either. So you just get whatever title you've done it, the date and location. So I expect like view details will give you a little bit more about that appointment, but currently nothing happens.
I'll put a note. So with the widgets, because this is something we kind of created for Edge 3, we just need to listen to your feedback and see if there's any other widgets that you guys will want, if there's any changes that you think will be useful. So just keep on telling us this, and we'll go and try to update and improve that widget function.
Yeah, I do just think it's the hyperlinks for the widgets. I think they're all great. It's just the hyperlinks need to be a bit better.
But I'm just saying in general, that's because it's quite new. They probably are not kind of optimized to the top yet. So listening to you guys and will make us make those widgets work better. But yeah, thank you. And there's Alison, I think.
No, Alison, yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know whether you've brought this up before, but you know when you want to add a note to the local level site, now can you pin it, but it just stays in the note tab, doesn't it? Can you not pin it to another page, like to the overview page, or when somebody goes in?
No,
so you have to physically go into notes.
Stays into that note. Yes, it stays. It just pins that note to the top of the notes page.
Okay.
But you cannot kind of move that then to another page because it's kind of hard coded in the background, all the fields that appear on each of the pages. So it's a bit difficult to do that.
Okay,
you can do a reply, but you can't move to different locations.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Just one last question.
Yes,
when you snip and copy, can you snip and copy into Edge?
No, you can't. I don't. It's either she's talking about like a cut and paste thing.
Yes, I wanted to. I've already got a note written now, and I just wanted to. No, you can't do that.
You can't do that one.
Okay,
you can do drag and drop
image.
images, but not into copy and cut and paste.
Okay, thank you for that.
I will pass the meeting to you because I think you're going to talk about amendments and I need a break as well, Liz.
No problem. Thank you for your patience, Roberto. Okay, cheers then. Oh, sorry, Stevie is here. Is Stevie got any questions to Roberto?
Yeah, I've got hundreds of questions for Roberto. No, like I know, mate. It was just to say, guys, I mean, I completely understand because I've obviously moved to Edge and I've came from a lead admin background. And I know the frustration that's out there with people just now. But at the same time, as I said before, using the departments as an example, it would maybe be worthwhile rather than individuals, keep asking the same thing, but in a different way, to collectively maybe set up a couple of working groups or working on maybe workflows or something else that can then bring this to the table as a group rather than as individuals. It's just a suggestion. I'm looking at it from the way I now see both sides of the coin because I would be shouting at Edge saying, why are you not fixing my thing? But now I realise there's about 50 other people asking for something some other thing. And how one person sees theirs is really important, another person sees theirs is really important. It's trying to get, if we work collectively as a groups, we could then focus on what's key for the majority, get it done, move on to the next thing, get it done, move on to the next. It's just a suggestion, but it just sort of saves you getting bogged down in the nitty-gritties of wee kind of things, and just it's just a thought.
We'll do something, Stevie, on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
From now to next meeting, we'll try to organize something. Okay. No problem. Thank you, Stevie. Okay. The next one. Agenda of the next one is, I think my colleague is patiently waiting. Her name is Anna Kumar, and she is nearly 7-8 years experience in research as a senior support officer, and she's a highly competent colleague of mine, and she's a very clever person. So Anna, it's you can do the magic of what you want to do actually.
Okay, thank you, Viz. Thank you. You've been very generous with your comments. It's my first time joining this meeting, so again, thank you to Viz for inviting me. And I will just quickly introduce myself. I'm Anna Komarek. I work at Leicester General Hospital. and I'm a senior study support officer. I'm working for a renal and transplant research department. So today I'll just do a very quick presentation on how we manage amendments on EDGE. And generally speaking, we're quite excited about EDGE here at UHL, and we try to use EDGE to maybe not full potential, but quite a lot of functions. So let me just try and share my slides, and hopefully that will work. Fingers crossed. Okay, Viz, can you confirm that the slides are on?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so thank you. So EDGE and how we manage amendments on EDGE here at UHL. So why amendments? I think it's a good example of showing how EDGE can be used, how can EDGE help us with quite complex governance work. And amendments present quite easy flow of actions. What I mean by that is from the moment that the amendment pack is shared with the site, and then how it's managed through the amendment CNC process up until the local approval process. So it's actually showing how we can navigate the whole amendment process using tools like EDGE. And we know that governance or amendments are not the easiest piece of work or piece of governance. So in here, I will try to show how it actually makes that complexity easy to manage. And it can actually serve as an idea for brainstorming. So we can use some aspects of EDGE to create other functions or possibilities. And I'm sure maybe some sites are using EDGE for amendments in a similar way or a completely different way. So it'd be good to discuss that or maybe share our experience. So amendments are used at the site level via workflows, and each workflow obviously is customized from the point of receiving amendment pack and going through this local CNC process is customized by a trust, by a site to your needs, and that will depend on local working practices, policies, your SOPs, etc. So I will try to now show how we use this here at UHL. So on the next slide, I will just show an example of is a screenshot of a workflow for an amendment that is actually taken from the previous version of EDGE, but only the reason is that everything fits into one screen. So it will be easier for me to go through and navigate and talk you through different aspects of the amendment content. So first, we start from allocating amendment to the research and innovation person. So obviously here, when you open this, you got a date and you put what day you actually received the amendment and you logged in the amendment onto the EDGE. And that's quite important because obviously there is a time frame for dealing with an amendment, so we can easily see how many days we're spending on each task.
And then could you make that full screen, please?
Right.
It's just folks
Just
can't
press
read it.
F5. Just press F5.
F5.
Yeah. Function file. That's it.
Magic. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so let me just now move into this. Okay, that's fine. So the next one was amendment categorization. I mean, that's important, what category it is, not just for the urgency, but for finance purpose as well. And then REC approval. So what day we receive REC a favorable opinion for the amendment. MHRA approval, if this is relevant. There is also additional requirements, any other local approval process that could be particular committees or boards that need to provide local approval within the CNC process. HRA approval, the same, what date we actually received HRA approval. When we received notice of amendment, so-called amendment tool. All supporting documents. Again, it's up to the site. There is a box that we can list them, which are applicable, because we know not all documents are applicable to every site. Here we have study support service approvals, which means that local departments that are involved in approval of an amendment, that could be lab, could be imaging, or just any local support departments. It's especially important when there is a substantial amendment that triggers the protocol, and obviously each department that is supporting the study needs to have a current version of protocol on their records. So that's why we are keeping all this information here, so it's easy to be found. Then does the amendment require finance approval? So we have finance section and contract section embedded into one workflow for an amendment. I know that other trusts may deal with finance and contract when the substantial amendment actually triggers the budget, and so it triggers the contract separately from the regulatory approvals. However, here in UHL, everything is in one workflow and in one process. So again, we're logging in whether an amendment requires finance approval, when we received finance approval, and the same whether it requires contract amendment and when we actually approved contract. Then when we send the amendment for authorization, when the amendment was approved by R&D, and then whether the amendment documents are uploaded, because we're using the section of documents and a folder of amendments to keep documents for all the amendments. So that's like in a nutshell how the workflow looks like. I'm just going to move now onto this slide, onto the new Edge. And over the next 3 slides, I will just show you like a live case of workflow here for one of the amendments. So you can see that I received the amendment on the 28th of June. I started working the amendment through just like 2 days after that, and you can easily see that REC approval was received on the 10th of July, which is quite helpful to know, and MHRA approval when the MHRA approval was received. HRA approval again followed all the other approvals and dates for the rest of the content of the amendment. I mean, in this case, I didn't log any requirement for finance or contract amendment because it wasn't necessary. However, for many amendments, especially substantial amendments, that is a process. And again, here is when the amendment was actually approved, and we can actually see and easily navigate how long we had to wait for amendment to be approved locally from the time we received the amendment at the site. So here is just quickly to present a landing page for workflows. So, for example, here you have amendment workflow, the main amendment workflow, which is for substantial amendment. And at the same time, we know what support departments are actually involved into the study. So in this case, it would be medical devices, a privacy team, ophthalmology, imaging, pathology, pharmacy, because it's IMP study. So each department will have their own workflow to approve the amendment. So again, the process of approving the amendment is easy to navigate and check where we are with approvals, what is holding us back. For example, maybe it's a specific department, internal department, that is delaying the approval process. And obviously, each department will have access to Edge, and they will be authorized to approve their own workflow. That will depend on the trust and departmental capacity as well, but it's quite a lot of internal departments here actually involved in the Edge approval process, which again is helping us to speed up and navigate the whole process. So what are the benefits of managing amendments on Edge? You can trace easily workload. You can trace amendments. You can pull out data on amendments that are, for example, pending regulatory approvals, pending your local approval, or you can actually pull out data in respect to an individual and not only manage the amendment themselves, but also individual's workload as well. So governance, it's complex and it doesn't have to be boring. So Edge is helping to keep the amendment process accurate, complete. It's very easy to verify, as you all know, what Edge can provide. And there is also room for creativity, meaning that the workflow that we're using here at the UHL could be a totally different workflow at different trusts, depending on how your internal processes are going. So I just wanted to quickly mention the amendments and financial implications that in terms of substantial amendments, when they are actually triggering the budgets and the CTA, Edge is helping us to navigate when the budget has been sent and reviewed and completed, when the contract amendment has been reviewed and financially approved, and also when the contract amendment have been signed and shared as required. Obviously, we can go even further, and we can create other workflows. For example, when we just have contract amendment without any governance or regulatory approvals, it's just contract, solely contract amendment. That could be like a separate workflow as well, when you can actually easy distinguish between how many financial applications or amendments you've had over a period of time. So what's exciting, I think, for me, I've been working with Edge for a couple of years now. We can create our own processes. We can customize process to our needs. Here at UHL, we are using Edge not only for amendments, for various research activities, starting from really not only just as a host site, as a sponsor site as well, expression of interest through all the setup process, feasibility, delivery process, managing safety, recordings, archiving, finance, and many others, quality checks as well. It helps reduce the burden of chasing information because we can pull out data. We can embrace new solution and have some fun. And it's actually making the work simple. So that's the, I think, main advantage, especially for amendments. So that's all. That's a quick presentation on how we actually do amendments here at UHL. And if you do have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Yeah, please, Victoria.
Hi, yeah. We do something very similar at Mid-Yorks with the workflows. It's very similar to yours, to be honest. But we're using these very regularly, and we're using the workflows very regularly. My hand up is more about just commenting if anybody else has found that the layout of the workflows is not great. It's probably one more for Roberto. I think again this one. I think we have sent comments into Edge about this previously, but I think it's just the way the workflows are laid out on the studies. It's very much that the question and comments for what needs to go into the workflow is quite big font on the workflow, and then the comments that people fill in the workflow you can't really see very well when you're looking at them. And it was whether or not those fonts could be switched around so that the comments that people are filling in, the actual data within the workflow that you're actually entering, could be made bigger, and the actual question / comment for what the work part of the workflow it is could be made smaller, just to make it so that when you're actually reading the workflows in the studies, it's much easier to view what's been written within them. That was just my comment. And I think it has been something that we have sent into Edge before, but I'm not sure what's been done about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it is something that some users have reported about, to try to change some of the display to workflow. We'll try to see what we can do in terms of visually. So when we made the decision on it, we thought that was going to be the best solution that we could find. But yes, there's some people that are saying that the comments are, because they are smaller font, are more difficult to see. So we'll try to see what we can do, either increase the font or maybe put slightly different color so it's easier to see. We are looking into that.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Look forward to seeing them.
Just to follow up on what Anna done it. So I know I don't use Excel much on doing the reports. I do Power BI. I just show you what I do. I've follow up to what they have done. Support officers do the work, and how we monitor these amendments actually. So just if you guys interested, I'll just show you. What is it? Yeah. So this is something about outstandings. When we're having a weekly ones, when we have a meeting, we have like a substantial amendment. So when Anna was showing, she was saying like SA1 or SA2, SA3, NSA1, NSA2, those kind of words you will see. So anything when it's like kind of a naming convention we have done. So when you write a comment, make sure if it's a substantial amendment, use SA. If it is a non-substantial amendment, NSA. So that's why you can see here, somebody put amendment. So I picked up right to this. So we go back, and then the person who did, they will try to fix it actually. So that's what I've displayed there. So you can, like these dates, we can see financial year, which date it's added to the study. That from that point, that date has been sorted. So you can say like 2022, 23, some of the amendments added is still pending to be approved actually. So this is all pending amendments actually. So it's not all the approved one is we do nearly around 700 non-substantial amendment, around 600 substantial amendment. So in this one, you can see like if I click, for example, this one, if I click on which are the studies, what amendments is pending, and then if I want to know what to do with it, just click on it. it'll take it to straight to the site level, and then I can go to workflow and then see this is the process I want to do. So I'll just make sure which amendment to be actioned. So I can see here. So that's what it is. Then this is quite regularly used. Weekly once I update the outstanding amendment report to make sure they look at it. And then I think in our group, Pradeep Chanjua from Sandwell and Birmingham Hospital, he has done amazing work. This is a very simple one I have done, but he has done a very, very critical work. Actually, it's really good. I'm trying to, mimic what he's trying, what he has done. So, but he did a brilliant job. But this is something, fit for purpose, what we are trying to do. And then you can just click on which specialty and what are the things, and based on when who added the amendment, so based on that we'll look at it. So like how many pending amendments is there, how much workload they got, and those kind of analysis we can do it actually. So this is something we do it. And anyone got any questions related to this?
So can this be pulled onto an Excel? What the graph you just showed, is it Excel, something Excel can do, or it has to be?
It can be done, and the thing is, see, it's more of dynamic report. When you click something on the graph, it happens in the table. It's Excel sheet is very difficult. You can do it like maybe filters and all this kind of things, but it's not this comfortable. You can do it actually. That's what it now. The doing this report is very straightforward. It is not a very complicated report which I have done here. So, but in Excel, maybe you can do the table part which I showed you. That's what that one you can do it. And in that one, multiple things to be added, and you need to do a lot of VLOOKUPs and all those kind of things. So that's what it is. It's too complex in doing in Excel, but in Power BI, it's very straightforward actually.
Thanks.
So. I think Samantha asked about can Edge talk to Power BI now? No, not yet, because once Roberta was talking about API, once that is done, it will be done. Yeah, once that is done, it will be possible.
So currently we notice a few different users that use Edge in conjunction with Power BI, but this is kind of like a semi-automated process. Once the API layer is up and running, you should be able to just automate the whole process and have all of that going without any or minimal intervention. Only if something goes wrong, that's when you will need to do anything.
Roberto,
and I'm also looking into the chat, so I'm taking notes of what people are saying in the chat as well.
Okay.
Just for you guys to know.
Okay, and I just want to ask you, is there any kind of a timeline or something, vague timeline? I'm not talking about definite timeline.
For the API layer?
Yes, yeah.
We are currently working on that. We were hoping to have some kind of pilot closer to the end of the year, beginning of next year. But of course, this has it's quite big, so it's one of those you may just be opening a can of worms and you just have lots of different things happening. But the idea will be end of this year, beginning of next year, having at least some pilot that we can use and start testing it.
So it's 3 months. Brilliant. Okay. Hi, Lucy. Tell me, how are you? Thank you for last week. So last month.
You're welcome. I was just going to say we do a much simpler sort of tracking process. We don't use Power BI, we use a spreadsheet. So we have a spreadsheet that is kind of based on the workflow report that you can pull off Edge. And we just refresh that on a weekly basis and use it to look at our turnaround times and things that are outstanding for a long time and highlight any issues. But it's a much simpler, we're a much smaller operation. You're talking about how many amendments you do. We don't do nearly that many, but we still have a busy flow of amendments coming through, and we manage it fine on an Excel spreadsheet. So anyone that's worried about it being too big a thing for Excel, it can be done quite easily from the workflows report.
Thank you, Lucy. You can share in case if you know people, if anyone want some Excel kind of reports, just ask Lucy. She can help you out actually. So now time is 2:50. So anyone got any questions, anything? Otherwise, we can wind up if you want it. So you got 10 minutes time for yourself actually. So we next time I asked one of my colleague about research passport. So I'm not sure whether I can get it. So if anyone interested to present it on research passport, please, because the regular reports everyone do it actually, no problem. But only thing is I want to know about. Hello, Victoria.
Sorry, yeah, I've just got one last thing that I just wanted to ask everybody if they're having any issues with when we're saving documents and everything onto Edge and dragging and dropping documents and emails into Edge. But one issue that we're having is with the IT download settings and firewalls and things, and being able to then open those documents and messages. And I just wondered if anybody's got anything that we can arm ourselves with to go back to IT to say we need to be able to do this, or if anybody else is having any issues with that. I
can say that one, Victoria, because for us in our organization, if you uploading the document is not an issue. When you want to download a document from Edge browser, we are having an issue. So it says blocked, you can't do it. But when we use the Chrome browser, we don't have any issues actually. So for Chrome browser, we use it for our, most of our Edge purpose actually. We don't use, Edge browser. So this is what happens. But we are not doing anything wrong but our IT has agreed on it actually, because this is not particular for research purpose. They have done it for the patient, because we got a lot of cloud-based data using for patient analysis. Everything we are doing it, isn't it? So to prevent the downloading into Excel, they have done that part actually. So in our organization, I don't know about yours, but this is something.
No, we're not. I think with the documents and that we've got it sussed, but it's more with the emails, because they're not allowing, or they didn't used to allow us to be able to save message files, MSG files. We had to save them into MHT files to be able to save them onto the server. And a few months ago, that all changed, and we were allowed to start dragging and dropping emails into the server. But we're trying to get away from storing anything on the server now, and we want to just use Edge for the study information. But one of the issues that we're having is that when we're dragging MSG files in now, it's now not letting us open them on when we're on the computers at work. So I just wondered if other trusts are having same issues with their IT and what they allow, and whether or not you got around it.
We don't have any issues like that, so we can open that is more of local local IT issue. It is nothing we can do about it. It's you can talk to the local IT. They must fix it actually. It's quite a straightforward process anyway.
Yeah. Okay,
thank you.
Fine.
Cheers, man.
We would use PDF for that. We would just simply exchange the email to a PDF if we needed to keep that for a long period of time. It's not, you can't alter it.
Yeah,
and it's part of the archiving.
But
yeah, we know that there are ways around that, and we can save it, but it means saving it to the server first and then uploading it and dragging it in. So it's just we're trying to obviously if we're trying to get away from using the server, they're going to turn emails into PDFs or MHT files to be able to then store them. It's
PDF got its own disadvantage. If you have an attachment in the MSG file, you can't do anything with that. So you will lose it. You can't just do every single attachment. So sometimes if you have a bulk of email coming, you just drag and drop the whole bulk there into the Edge. So that will be more easier work actually, rather than converting every single one of them as a PDF and putting it on. And only thing is what do you call the subject is the file name actually. So what we can do is we need to make sure that the subject is more sensible actually. That's very important. Otherwise it will be very difficult.
Yeah, that's something we had started doing, because we were finding you can't so you can't drag an email that's named the same thing into the folder. So if you've got a chain and then something else gets added to it and it's called the same thing, so we are making sure that we amend the subject line in emails to make them more specific to what the question's about at the time. Then it makes it a little bit clearer. But yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I think next month, I'm planning to do with something on Research Passport. But let us see, whether if anyone else is interested to present any other topics which is interesting, please let me know. You can have an opportunity to present. It's really good. And but next time, I'm planning to do the Research Passport. Stevie, tell me, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if anyone wants to get in contact with me, I'll put my email address in there. I'll just, contact one of the Edge team, and I'll maybe start some of these working groups. I can set, start something on with people to give them an idea, because I think it just makes sense to work and focus on certain things that everyone agrees to, gets the job done, and then moves on to the next thing, instead of just having, things floating around in the air.
Yep. We'll do that one. I will send you the list also anyway. Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Man.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Anna. Cheers.